Greetings and salutations, old friends, and hopefully some new friends. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Today has been quite a journey. You may notice we're not in our usual space. I'm actually on my patio because the transition to a new streaming studio has been a nightmare. Basically, I thought I could clean an entire room full of junk in a few days and be moved in there sometime, I don't know, last week, late last week, early this week. Just hasn't happened yet. I'm hopeful that tomorrow I will finish the clean up and clean out and be just setting things up. We have some new equipment to move in there. I didn't want to rip apart the existing office or studio to I just don't want to move everything and then have to move it all back. So we're all set up to set up the new studio. I just have to finish a great many things. So welcome one and all. You may have noticed that for the first time in a long time, I posted the invitation link to tonight's show. You too can, don't just be a part, don't just listen to the story. Don't just listen to the show. Don't just watch the show. You too can come and be a part of it. Everyone is most welcome here. The one thing I ask, if you join the show, no nudity on your webcam, please. And yes, I have to say that. So today, for the first time in, 60 years, we got an open congressional hearing about UFOs. And I try to manage my expectations. I expected the worst, hoped for the best. And I got pretty much the worst. There was only a few things that I took away from today. The first is that the government basically showed us what appears to be a balloon taken from an iPhone camera of somebody in an F-16 or two-seater airplane. The guy in the back seat. I thought we had better imaging on those fighter aircraft. I don't know why we're getting cell phone footage of what appears to be or very likely could be a balloon. The other takeaway is that right in the open congressional hearing, they basically said that Jeremy Corbell's triangle video was fake. It was bokeh, just as people, including most notably Mick West, had described that it's a bokeh effect. Now, I'm sure Mr. Cowbell is going to try to spin this. He is the master of spin. You know what he's going to say? My work is so important, it got mentioned in the UFO congressional hearings. But basically, they all but said that he put out a fake video. It's bokeh, friends. Just as many have described, it is balloons and drones. That's what we got from the United States. And by the way, I am aware that some stupid people are saying about Jeremy Corbell's video, oh, no. There's testimony of people who saw a pyramid-shaped UFO. No, there isn't. Show us, Jeremy Corbell. Drop whatever you have. He's got nothing. This is what likely happened. Somebody sent him that video. He ran with it. This is definitely aliens. Look, it's pyramid-shaped UFOs. No, it's not. It's garbage, because that's what Jeremy Corbell is, a UFO garbage peddler. And he has been peddling garbage for his entire so-called career. The guy that was basically a failed, failed MMA instructor, right? A failed artist. Now he's going to be a UFO expert on Fox News and other news channels. And by the way, I don't know how they vet somebody on these mainstream media channels and say, this is a UFO expert. They need better vetting, because for a UFO expert, that guy believes anything. He believes that a convicted pimp with a fake education, who, by the way, never worked where he said, he did work where he said he worked, Los Alamos Labs, but he was never a scientist there, as he claimed. He was a low-level technician. We've got all the proof that Bob Lazar is a fraud here on our channel. We've got an on-the-record interview with an Area 51 security guard that says he never stepped foot on Area 51 base and that there is nothing at the so-called S4 location. Then we've got on-the-record sources that worked at Los Alamos saying that Bob Lazar lied to everybody. He was never a physicist there. He was never a scientist. Bob Lazar was the guy you called when your computer wasn't working right. He was a low-level electronics technician. And this dumbass Jeremy Corbell has been pushing that Bob Lazar bullshit cart for 10 years now, right? Maybe not 10 years, but a great many years. And the fact that he is an expert, a man who basically, here's how Jeremy Corbell's deal works. He gets a story he likes, he shows you all the evidence it may be true, and then he purposefully leaves out all of the other information that proves that the story is fake. This is what a lot of the UFO hucksters do, including Jeremy Corbell. A lie by omission is still a lie. Myself, Jeremy Rise, alien scientist, Solar Marshall, and other researchers sent Jeremy Corbell sufficient, overwhelming, I think, overwhelming evidence that Bob Lazar was a fraud and a liar before he made his Bob Lazar film, and he used to talk to us. As soon as he realized that all the information that we had completely disproved the story, he didn't want to talk to any of us anymore. And by the way, my last communication with Mr. Corbell was that he said straight to me, Steve, if the story is fake, there is no documentary. There's no movie deal if I just say the story is fake. So that should give you some indicator of the truthfulness, the integrity of this person named Jeremy Corbell. He is a UFO garbage peddler. That's what he does. He peddles garbage UFO stories that are fake. Bob Lazar is fake. He peddled that. I believe that largely he peddled Skinwalker, which there's so many stories there, but there's no proof or evidence of any of this stuff. People have been studying that location for what, 20 years now? Bob Bigelow spent millions studying. Apparently the U.S. government spent $22 million peddling. Apparently the U.S. government spent a portion of that $22 million for OSAP studying werewolves, goblins, and dino beavers at Skinwalker Ranch. Jeremy Corbell is about as credible as Jerry Springer. He is the Jerry Springer of the UFO world. He does no research. He does not include any information that would prove that the story that he's peddling is fake. He does this time and time again. And we've seen it again. Look at these garbage videos that he's been pushing this past year, right? One of them is lights in the sky that could be anything. Another one is pyramid-shaped UFOs. Garbage, garbage. Jeremy Corbell is a garbage peddler. And even though the congressional hearing basically said that at least that Boca video is identifiable drones taken through a night vision, just as the skeptics and the debunkers said it was. But Jeremy Corbell is most likely going to spin this. I know he is the master of spin. He's going to spin it. My work is so important. It was mentioned in the congressional hearings. Yeah, mentioned to say that there are people out there. Did you realize there was another takeaway from today is that they basically asked, what about all these people peddling disinformation for their own agenda? Is there any legal consequences for those people? And I think there should be. If Jeremy Corbell does no research and just puts out a video and says, it's pyramid aliens, it's aliens, and he knows better, he did no research on that, and people are saying, no, not so fast. He's got witness testimony. Drop it. Let's hear it, and drop names. Don't use anonymous sources or some other bullshit way to keep pushing that UFO bullshit cart down the road, buddy. Give us their names and let other people interview and talk to these people. I don't think they exist. I think they only exist in Jeremy Corbell's imagination and the imagination of anybody stupid enough to believe Jeremy Corbell is a credible researcher or filmmaker, whatever. So tonight we're going to be having a discussion here. We're going to be breaking all of this down. Joining me as my sort of co-host tonight is our lead chat room moderator here, friend of the show, and fellow, I don't even know what you would call him, fellow UFO interested party who is unwilling to accept the UFO bullshit cart that has been pushed down all of our throats for the past, at least since 2017. And by the way, that's another takeaway that I got from this hearing. There's a whole new crop of interested people interested in this phenomenon, and I call them the 2017ers. before 2017 in that New York Times article, they never really cared about UFOs. But suddenly there was this huge influx of people that think that 70 years of government cover up and secrecy is over. And now there are good people that worked in the government that are tired of the secrecy and they want to bring us disclosure and the UFO truth. Bullshit. Bullshit. We've seen these UFO messiahs come and go. The government is not your friend. They do not want to tell you anything. But joining us here, and the first of our panel members is the Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense Design is here.
Hey, what's up? Aside of being put on the 55 felon list there,
Oh yeah, that's another. That's,
or Lou Hater slash, right? You know?
yeah, yeah, I have that. We're going to share that, and it's so interesting to me that Lou Lizolato, Lou the Liar Elizondo, is listen, after just admitting that he uses sock accounts, right? And why are all these sock accounts that put out this information that is negative to his critics? Why are they always brand new, nameless, faceless accounts on Twitter? It's never somebody that's real defending Lou Elizondo. It is a nameless, faceless sock account,
You know,
essentially.
I don't doubt that he isn't still running them because I'm looking at the way that these things are structured and that's how I do it. I look at how somebody posts something and what kind of things they include and maybe how they say or how they punctuate. I swear that he's still out there doing this stuff,
Yeah, look at both of us are on here. The Sixth Sense is
Yeah,
here, and
yeah,
I'm here as well.
yeah,
And it should be noted that the original post said, Lou, what did it say? Lou Elizondo haters, the
yeah,
con squad.
yeah,
And this
yeah,
and this piece of disinformation garbage comes directly after Lou Elizondo is distributing a list that he called the Felon Five. Then this list comes out of people that supposedly hate Lou Elizondo and are the quote con squad. So what does con squad mean? Does that mean me and you are con artists,
yeah. I've
or that
apparently,
we're ex cons? The use
yeah,
of the word con was not accidental here. There is a purposeful, real attempt here by Lou Elizondo. I believe, I'm entitled to my opinion. I believe that all of this, the Felon Five, this list, it's all been undertaken by Lou Elizondo and his merry squad of idiots. And that's what they are. Lou Elizondo, your house of cards is falling down. Why don't you just answer hard
yeah.
questions? You UFO circle jerk king. Why doesn't he just answer hard questions instead of going on podcasts with 500 views, or excuse me, 500 subscribers that will softball him? It makes no sense.
Yeah, his game is he's losing his game, and it's pissing him off. So he's got to do something, and
Well,
and
isn't
that's
it
the thing.
terrible? It's terrible timing for this too, because he's going to drop a book anytime. Look, he should have dropped that book a year ago, because
Oh, that's right.
a year ago, he was in a much better position. Now we've got real and serious researchers ripping him apart. That Stephen Greenstreet piece was glorious, and now he's got to explain all that shit. Oh, it
Yeah,
was a program. Oh no, it wasn't. It was activity. Success. I was doing activities during my day job, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's ridiculous because they don't really have anything, but here they can say it and then never offer any proof that anybody on that list is a con. I mean, I'm sure that there's quite a few people on there that just plain don't like Lou. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, yeah, but is that enough to go ahead and try to discredit everybody? And that's the thing. This is an effort to go ahead and discredit every single person, with the exception of the Taliban in the corner there.
Yeah, they put
Discredit.
it's nice. I'm on a list of, and that's another. That was another subtle way to imply. Remember, Lou Elizondo said that he doesn't negotiate with terrorists. So there's this subtle wordplay. This
It
looked
is.
like an intelligence op. We put out this list of felons, and by the way, when we put out the list of felons, we won't identify who the Felon Five are, but we'll mention a bunch of my critics' names in there, including Rich from Goofon and Steve Cambion. And really, that list says either I'm a convicted felon or I'm mentally unstable. It's one or the other, right?
Well, you could be both, I suppose.
Yeah,
And
maybe
and
I'm so mentally unstable. And then we have Luciar, who is still making apologies for his licking the asshole. That's what
Yep.
Lou CR does. Lou from UCR. You have been licking the asshole of Lou Elizondo
Wait a minute. Where is
for
he on that list?
7 interviews now, right? 7 interviews, you licked his asshole. Lou, you are part of the problem.
He's
You are why we are here, buddy, because you didn't do your job.
Yeah, Lou Angeles is the last stream that I seen him in. He's pretty much crying and saying, and I did capture some of that, so I'll get it out here at some point. He's pretty much saying, "I wish I really never did that to Lou. I'd say, hey, you know what? The best thing to do is to, just come back, Lou. Just come back, Lou.
Yes,
Please come back."
your
I
your
guess,
your mic was up at like 200%, so I've dropped it
oh
here.
shit. Oh,
There you
sorry,
go.
buddy.
Sorry if we were overdriven. And also,
Okay.
those people who are listening in audio podcast land, I'm just mentioning that you may hear some dogs barking or some weird birds or something. I'm outside on my patio. We're in the
It's got
middle of moving to a new streaming
coyotes.
location. Yeah, and we've got a few more panel members joining us here, so this is going to get good. But I would like to just finish of this. Luciar basically said, he also said a bunch of nasty shit because what he said was, well, there's a few people mentioned in that I could imagine are felons because they have unstable behavior. Again, I have unstable behavior, or I'm, what was it? I'm mentally unstable. Lou says I'm either a
Crazy.
felon.
Crazy.
Lou Elizondo says I'm either a felon or I'm mentally unstable in that message. I'm one or the other. One of the other. There's two groups of people that critique him or are critical of him or have too many questions about his bullshit stories. The first are felons, and the second people are mentally unstable. Then Lou UCR goes on a show and says, "Well, I could imagine that some people on that list are felons because of their unstable behavior." It's like this is an op. This whole thing is an op,
Well,
right?
I don't know
And
how many
something is
times.
not right here, right?
Yeah, I don't know how many times Lou Angeles, and just to clarify, that's Lou
Yeah,
Angeles.
and that's another thing. Hey, Lou Angeles, why don't you start paying the people that work for you, you piece of shit? Why don't you start paying the people that
Oh no,
work
he
for
takes it all
you?
for himself.
He
He said
keeps
that
all
too.
the money.
Yeah, for
Every
himself.
time you dumbasses send him a super chat,
He
he
admitted it.
smiles,
He
and the
admitted
people
it.
that work for him cry because they don't get a penny of those super chats. They don't get a penny of the Patreon. He keeps it all for himself. And by the
Yeah,
way, isn't that illegal? You can't just make people work for you for free for years, right?
he
And
admitted it.
he's giving people show advice. He's telling people what they need. This is what you need to do to be successful. Be like me. So I just want to put this out there. Oh wait, I'm going to do something real fast here. Okay, 1 second. I just want to put this out there. Truth Seekers is currently seeking some show slaves like Lou Angeles from Unidentified Ass Licking Review. Lou Angeles from Unidentified Celebrity Ass Licker Show has slaves working for him. He has a producer, a musician, he's got 2 or 3 co hosts, and nobody gets paid but him. I don't think I should be able. Why should I have to compete with a guy who has 4 slaves working for free? That shit's not fair. I want some slaves of my own. So to apply to be a Truth Seeker slave, we need 4 or 5 of them so that I can level the playing field with Lou from United Celebrity Ass Lickers or UFO Celebrity Ass Licker Show. I need 4 or 5 slaves, just like he has. It's not fair that I, as a show host, I'm supposed to compete with a show host that has 4 or 5 slaves that he does not pay. It's not fair. That's some bullshit. So to apply to be a Truth Seeker slave, oh, by the way, 6 cents, you're going to be the first one. Just moderating the chat as a volunteer is not enough. I'm going to need more slave labor from you. Okay? I have to compete with a guy with 5 slaves. I don't think that shit is fair. Joining us to comment on whether he would like to be a new Truth Seeker slave is my buddy Ron from Cosmic Neighbors.
I already am. You already got my 3D printers and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Okay.
No, but you got to put in like 20, 30 hours a week on the Truth Seeker Show. Forget your own channel. Don't worry about that. You got to work for me, Ron. I need 4 or 5 slaves so I can compete with Lou Angeles from Unidentified Celebrity Ass Licker Show.
Will you at least tell people I'm a good person?
Yes, you're a good person.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay.
My slaves that are going to work for me for free are all very good people. They care about me succeeding and being able to compete equally with Lou from UCR. So they're going to work for me for free so that I can compete. Because this guy's running around giving people show advice while he had slave labor, right?
You
And
know,
do we call the labor board? Like, this guy's got 4 or 5 slaves. Are they chain thing? This guy is running around giving everybody. He's giving Rich from Goof on show advice and others, and I think that's kind of bullshit. Like, come
you
on, man.
Because he's
You
an
know?
actor. He's an actor, like he
Yeah.
says. You know,
Oh, he's a comedian too. He's an
right?
actor and a comedian,
Yeah,
and I'm not
so
funny, but he
lame.
is. I've never heard the guy be
you
funny, and
you know something? Just to jump in for a second. So with all that drama that was happening, right, with the Green Street stuff, so I kept hearing about being mentioned from Gufan about that there was this podcast they did where they were meeting, and I couldn't find it. And then yesterday, I finally found it on Alien Addict. So I decided to watch some of it, and I ended up watching the whole thing.
I was supposed to be on that,
And
but I
I
couldn't
don't
make
know,
it.
I don't
I
know
wish I
nothing
would have been
about.
on there
I
because I
seen
would
you
have pushed
pop.
him a little further.
I seen your question pop up a couple of times like that. It popped up on the bottom, but I don't know that guy from a hole in the wall. I think I watched parts of the show a couple of times because of the squidding guy, and so I was just seeing what was going on. And I got to tell you, again, I don't know this guy, but he was frustrating me because it was like I kept thinking, who made you mayor? Like where, and a matter of fact, another guy, Rich,
Lou
the other
Elizondo
Rich,
made
came
him
out and
mayor.
said,
Oh,
like, who made you
Lou
the arbiter of
Elizondo.
truth?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
like you're the guy that tells people like this is what's good and this is what's bad. Like, who named you mayor to be saying all this stuff?
Yeah.
And if somebody
Lou
like,
Elizondo made him the mayor.
yeah, but
The
it's
mayor
just
of the UFO circle jerk
it was
crew.
just so disingenuous when he's saying like, "Oh, I want you to do good." No, you don't. And then every time somebody he criticized or he
Right.
pointed out stuff, as soon as it came back to him, he can't take criticism. That guy,
Yeah.
and like he was getting all tight and bent up and start like
Y-
shit. I
You know
don't
what I
know.
find funny now that you say that is he's going ahead and doing the social justice warrior shit, you know, which is ridiculous. And it's okay for him to do it, but then when it comes to go ahead and he's saying all this, well, we shouldn't be doing this kind of thing, this kind of thing. His co-host there goes ahead and says that he is,
Yeah, if he wants to be,
or no, I got that backwards. His co-host is saying we shouldn't be doing this stuff. Yet Lou just did it just 2 seconds before, and I'm like, this is
yeah.
fucking ridiculous.
And you want to be
Yeah.
a social justice warrior? How about paying the people that work for you for free? That would be some social justice.
He admitted that.
Their own back pay. And that's another thing. Somebody checked. I think it was Area 503 checked, and in 1 month, and of course this was the month of Lou Elizondo interviews, he got 2,500 of his 10,000 subscribers. That's 25% of his subscribers he got in 1 month. So for him to be shelling out advice on how to have a better show,
Yeah.
he did the UFO circle jerk with Lou Elizondo 7 times. That's where those subs came from, and feeding people that hopium garbage. You know,
Well,
Hey,
Lou's
at
gonna
least-
that's
bring us
what everybody has
disclosure.
them on for, because that's for anybody. That's a quick 100 subs for somebody or whatever, and that's
Right.
why when you
Thousands
see
for
like
some people.
how many times, like can
Oh, I'm
you?
sorry. We
when
have
you
a
hear
conundrum this year as well.
what's up? Oh, I thought that was. I'm like,
How's it going?
yeah, what's going on? I thought like what you call it when. How many times can Elizondo? You keep seeing announcements. He's on this podcast, and like how many times can you listen to that?
And he says nothing for
Yeah,
most of
same
it.
thing. Yeah, same thing over and over. It's just a repeat.
But the cracks have shown now that some things have been revealed, like his nastiness is coming out and everything. And it is what it is. It'll all be proven soon.
I think actually, the last broadcast that I seen that he had there, the only thing that he actually said was that he regretted, losing Lou.
Yeah.
And I think
Josh
that
Artemis Show is here as well. Welcome, Josh
Yep.
Artemis Show.
Hey, Josh.
And that's another thing. I guarantee that he better hope Lou Elizondo comes back, because if not, his numbers are going to be in the shitter. Because suddenly his co-host asked Lou Elizondo one hard question, and now all the Lou lovers are attacking them that was a setup, and you guys are turning on Lou and all this shit. So their view count is about to go in the shitter. there's nothing wrong with this, but this is a true statement. Their numbers are guest driven. Look at his numbers from a year ago. Him sitting there talking by himself got 300 or 500 views. He's not getting 10,000 views without Lou Elizondo or some other UFO celebrity, to sit there and lick the asshole of.
Now, the only thing, I'm sorry, go ahead, bud.
If he did Lou, like, when he first started, or when you start seeing his videos there, and then he never did him from there, you're going to lose people clicking, because, it's been 10 years since I don't know how many years it's been, 10 years since they even looked at your channel. So, I think that the number thing is kind of misleading in a way, but if it's something recent and it's a recent topic, apparently UFOs is a recent topic, especially of, concern today. But yeah, I'm thinking that if he had done Lou years and years and years ago, and then hadn't done him for like 10 years or so, well, 5 years, let's say, I don't think his numbers would be, be increased just because he had Lou. But being that he had him on recently, he's seen, oh shit, look at how much better I was doing when I had Lou. Now that Lou is gone, because y'all scared him away, blaming everybody else but himself. I just don't think that's.
Well, I think also that was like, I watched that show with Greenstreet because I like Stephen Greenstreet, and so that's when I tuned in. And I got to be honest, I was just walking away from the computer and I heard the question, and it made me turn around. Like, did I just hear that? Like, what did he just ask him? And that's when I seen Stephen's face. I rewinded it, and I can tell totally off guard. And I looked at Lou. When I look at it, I look at that guy Lou's face. I think he knows he messed up. I don't think he expected that. It was a dumb question to ask at that time of the show. Like, it felt like this guy just gave you a nice interview, a long thing, and then at the end to ask that. But when Stephen came back and when he said, the guy, he said, oh, it's not an email. It wasn't an email. I can tell that he was being truthful there, like he was caught off guard.
Yeah, but that's another thing. He did a cartwheel on that Alien Addict show. Like, it was the truth. It wasn't an email. It was a text message. Come on, man.
That's like a white lie, though. That's deceptive still.
My hat is here saying that I stole C.W. Channer's content. Okay. CW, where's he at now? He's doing doll videos right now. He didn't want to do this anymore. And he and I are okay, so people should not try to start shit between the two of us. You know what? He covered Corey Good. I covered many different people and Corey Good. And no offense, but I'll put my investigatory pieces against his lack of any investigatory pieces. It's apples and oranges. Whatever. I did content similar to another content creator on YouTube.
Right.
Where I covered similar topics. We're interested in similar topics. So,
Right.
But here's one thing. I don't have free slave labor. I don't have 4 people working for me for free. And I don't have UFO celebrities getting me 2,500 subscribers in 1 month and a pop. So,
I actually liked the format, kind of like of the setup and everything of the show, and I think that would have a potential, except for the whole Elizondo stuff. I understand that, but like when I watch the guy, and again, I'm really not trying. I really don't know this guy. I never spoke with him, chatted with him, anything. So I'm not trying to sounds like I'm really banging him, but I'm not. I'm just giving my opinion what I seen the other night, and I was like, who is this dude? Like, he's like really off, and he was like everybody. And especially with Goofon, like with Rich, like, because I watch Rich too, just like you, Cambion, and all that. And, I don't know. It was a frustrating thing to watch because he kept preaching everybody. But here's a question I have for you, all you, and everybody in the chat. So now, with this historic public UAP hearing, so do we thank Lou Elizondo for it?
Yeah, we thank him for that nothing burger. He's going to take a bow, though. Like, I did that. You got us a worthless hearing where it was pretty clear. Here's a problem that I have with the government. If they're going to have somebody that's supposed to study a topic, they should be knowledgeable on that topic. These guys seem like they didn't know
Right.
They didn't know what the Wilson documents were. What was that other Air Force incident? They didn't know
Oh, the
anything about
Maelstrom.
that. Yeah,
Maelstrom.
the Maelstrom is a famous UFO incident. Oh, we're not familiar. We don't have any.
That was
You know.
shocking when you talk about missile silos and all that stuff. And like, oh, the first I'm hearing of it. And the way he brushed it off, Ronald when he said, "Yeah, but like things in the news, like we're not gonna."
But
So,
I
like,
think
if you see something about our missile bases or nuclear, just because it's in a paper somewhere, you'll just dismiss that and like, I think that.
I almost think he, at least initially, he dismissed that as a conspiracy theory type thing. So it's like I'm not even going to acknowledge this. I mean, who hasn't? If you're in the UFO field, you've heard of it, right? You know, how could you not have heard of it? I think initially he started off saying something well, it wasn't given to us. Okay, fair enough. It wasn't given to you to review because it's already been reviewed by everybody else, and it looks like bullshit.
Well,
You know, I
joining
mean,
us is Lord Ludicrous Plaid is here.
varies.
Hey man, what's
Good to
happening?
see you, Lord
Oh, yeah,
Ludicrous.
Lord.
I called
Did
him
you,
lewd.
Lord Ludicrous? Did you enjoy your nothing burger today? Did you enjoy that nothing burger?
I did. I was shocked that they brought up the Wilson Davis documents, and then the guy called him Eric Wilson. I think he got his name wrong, unless
Yeah,
it's
he
maybe it's
conflated
Admiral's.
Wilson and
I
Eric
thought
Davis.
so.
Yeah, he said
Yeah.
Eric Wilson, but I'm
Yeah.
surprised that they submitted that. That's
You
and
know,
like you were
that
just
could
talking
also
about.
that dig about people who purposefully float misinformation for their own agenda could have been about Jeremy Corbell and other UFO grifters, but it just as easily could have been about Eric Davis pushing this fake story that he met with an admiral that was trying to get to the UFO truth and find the bodies and the wreckage and all this bullshit, because Eric Davis has been trying to suck off the teat of government money for how long now? You know, he was part of this garbage OSAP studying werewolves and garbage.
Well, I don't know what the legal ramifications would be for before that. Knowing that this stuff is just totally fake, you can always consider it entertainment purposes. This and this and this and that. I mean, but would they ever charge somebody like that knowingly? I mean, you got to prove intent, and that's always like the most difficult thing to prove. Yeah, I question whether they can actually legally prosecute these people. I mean, I don't
I
know.
know. I think there needs to be new laws, though. You
I
know,
think
like
there should.
I for one, think that especially when people do things that are obviously a fraud. You know, like
But
if you sell a video game cover as a picture of a quote a genuine gray alien taken on the moon, and then you put it behind a paywall and you take everybody's $3 to get behind the paywall. To me, that's consumer
That's fraud.
fraud.
But you
Yeah,
got to
that's
be
fraud.
You should be
really, really
prosecuted.
careful
But
with this, and I'll tell you why. I don't think they were talking about show hosts like yourself and goof on of that. But why you have to be careful what you wish for is, you see what they did with like the political podcasts and all that, right? When near election time and all that, YouTube made a decision the year prior, whatever, that they were going to give preference to actual news media outlets, known ones, and everybody else to trickle down like that. So with this, you don't want them like starting to scrutinize all the ufology channels and all that, because they'll start really censoring and like locking stuff out. If they start picking that, it's like real fine line. And I hate that when they put their note. But I agree with you with the hoax stuff and the phoniness. Like, here's the one thing, and I'll let you guys talk. This is what aggravated me. You remember when the whole thing came out about people, the report that the people were getting sick from UFOs and all that? It was on Twitter for days. Then Corbell comes out of nowhere, retweets the story, and in 2 hours, he's on every news channel talking about that. So he must have a contact. But like, the guy retweets stories and then goes out there and spews his expert crap like that.
Well, how much of the news is totally fake anyways? Why not go to another fake source that supplies even more fake, bullshit? Yeah. I'm sure that they got connections there. Yeah. It's obvious.
He's always on within hours. Like, whenever he retweets some important story or could be of importance, he's like guaranteed within hours he's posting a link that he was just on Channel 5 or this one, like that, every single time. like
Yeah,
that.
Well,
yeah, and
he's
I just
doubling
want to
down
mention for
now.
the viewers that we're moving. This is going to be our new time slot, or I believe so, 9 p.m. Still working on a new schedule, and I'll have that out. But this 7 p.m. is too hectic for me because my wife doesn't get home till 6 or 6:30. I'm trying to feed my kids, get the show booted up and rolling by 7 p.m. This is a little easier. Today was nicer. I got to have dinner with my family, relax a little bit, and then jump into show mode. So join us 9 p.m. tomorrow night. We're going to be talking about David Wilcock and his new superpowers. It is
I saw
amazing.
that. I saw that.
It's amazing.
I need the content. Come on, Cambion. Let's do this.
Yeah,
He's back at
it
it.
is amazing. And he cried again on his
Yep.
latest
Oh
video.
yeah, I gotta put that on. Definitely, I gotta do a
You know,
video
Yeah.
about that.
I looked at him crying, and I wanted to say at first, okay, it's just an act. But then I kind of said, well, it's a pretty good act. And is he really But what is he really crying about? Is he crying because people are turning away from him and saying, look, you're not making any more sense here, dude. I mean, look what happened
Yeah,
with Good.
and he basically listen. That stream made me want to go take a shower. It was so gross because he basically said that as a child he was like abducted by aliens and they ate him
They raped him.
and they raped
Yeah.
him and they molested him and then he starts crying and then he says like I'm not making this up. But listen, look, if you've been a victim of sexual abuse as a child, I think one of the last things that you would do is go on a live stream that's monetized while you're getting super chats and tell everybody all about how you were molested by aliens. Patrick Sheehan with a kind of generous $9.99 says share with your indentured servant, Stephen. No, I keep all the money. Nobody else gets any of the money. And I missed another super chat. I'm going to scroll through and find it, so I apologize. But thank you, Patrick Sheehan, for helping us to praise the cash here. All the money's for me. The slave labor works free. Right?
Stephen gives us a break. We get a
Uh,
3-minute break every
I'm
8
okay
hours.
with that, eh? I'm Canadian, so I'm okay with that. I'm used to getting screwed in the ass. You know what I'm saying? No, that's all I'm saying.
He treats us like Amazon. So.
Oh, I found
so
it.
so
I
so
found it. Listen, I just want to make sure everybody understands. We thank every single super chatter. Thank you, Tony McClear, kind and generous, £5. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and support of the show. Um, I need the money. The slaves don't get any. That's the way it works here. We're going to go with the UCR model of running a show. By the way, I need free musicians and I need a free producer as well. 6 cents. Maybe you could be the free producer, right?
I can do a little bit of that. I mean, we got basic stuff.
No, I have not. If somebody's asking about where Trixie is, of course Trixie is here, and she's going to thank everybody for praising.
This is Trixie at the exclusive Truth Seekers UFO desk. And I like nothing more than getting down on my knees and praising cash. Every time you donate, I'm going to get down on my knees and praise cash. Praise cash. Praise cash. Thank you. Generosity.
Praise the cash, ladies and gentlemen.
I would like to say one thing real quick. I noticed earlier with when they were showing the hearings that Fox News was pretty much the only one that showed. Like they showed almost the entirety this morning, and then this afternoon, they had Underwood was on, they had Corbell on, and I think Lou was on last night. I noticed that just flipping through some channels. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and from what I understand, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm told that Fox News pays for certain guests. So, people are like, oh, he does these podcasts for free. Okay, but Fox News may be paying him. He's making money from conference
They always
appearances.
do. They pay them if they don't have an appearance contract. Some of them get that. They usually get from my buddy that works in one of those 250 a pop. Is usually what it is.
Now,
these short little appearances.
Now, does he receive a W-2 for just that, for each appearance? Let's say, for instance.
Who knows?
What is it, like a retainer or
No, I think
they'll
probably 1099 it like that.
Well, I know from that I'm my own experience that even even those local morning radio, like local morning television shows, like in Philly and Chicago and Baltimore and bigger cities, they pay guests. I've been paid to be on local television morning shows, and they're always terrible, but and then some of them just expect you to do it for free to promote, like if you're in town doing a show, they want you to come and talk about the show or something, or do a little something to promote the show. But I always went, I'm not doing them, because my target audience is not up at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., looking for what I was selling, essentially. So I only did the paid ones,
Yeah,
Well,
and I heard it from a. I'm sorry.
Even if he's doing it for free now, it's perfect. It's like PR stuff for when his book comes out.
Yeah.
He'll be able to go back on and
I think his timing is terrible. He should have dropped that book a year ago.
I think that's why he said he was going to step away from social media for a while.
He's got to figure out how to do damage control.
The heat was rising, so it's usually out of sight, out of mind, like that. I think that's what he wanted to pull off, but I don't.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Those are taxpayer-funded UFO videos, and Corbell is licensing them. He's watermarked them, and every time, I believe, and Corbell can correct me if I'm wrong, he knows where to reach me. Every time Fox News or somebody plays one of his videos, he gets some money. And that's some bullshit. How is that legal?
It's not his property. The government
belongs to the government. Yeah.
No,
the government has acknowledged and confirmed that it was filmed by Navy personnel. They have confirmed that.
But it could have been personal. It could have been personal phones.
Yes, I only did do the pay ones. Why? I don't want to work for free, and I don't think anybody should work for free, including people working on Unidentified Celebrity Review. I have a FOIA. I got a response on about that. I actually sent a FOIA in to ask about, was Corbell or anybody investigated over those leaked videos? And they sent me back telling me that they have no investigations going. And one of the guys that works with Greenwald and all that, one of those other reporters, I forgot his name, he gave me some other agencies I should FOIA for that information. But they came back and said, we have no investigations going. Nothing on that. Well, here's an experiment that I was going to do, and I still have to do it. And that is, those 3 videos that Lou Elizondo, I don't want to say stole out of the Pentagon, authorized to be released, even though they weren't authorized for public viewing or whatever. In one form or another, TTSA and Lou Elizondo profited from those videos, which are government property. So what I want to know is, if I take those same videos and take the TTSA watermark off of it, put them on my channel and monetize it and make money off of them, will that be okay, or will somebody copyright strike me or claim?
Go to Navair, to the Navy's reading room, FOIA reading room. You don't have to take no watermark off. You could download them right from there. Go fast.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they're all right there. So that's why.
Help me out with some links.
I'm curious if they'll copyright strike you, if anybody.
Yeah, I want to do. I'm going to do it this week. I'm going to do it this week.
Yeah.
And I'll report the results. I'll take one strike to if somebody hard strikes it, I'll take them down. I don't think
they would. I just posted a bunch of clips on a video I uploaded about the hearing today, and I put a bunch of clips from it. And when I put it through the YouTube thing, no copyrights, nothing when it comes to the Congress. That's true fair use. So with those videos, I mean, you can't just rebroadcast them without any kind of commentary or something, like just repost them like that, especially if your channel's monetized. But if you're on there and you talk about it, or there's a reason for it, educational, that whole crap and everything. Yeah, there's something. But just because somebody puts their Instagram,
I'll introduce the video and talk about it at the end. I'll introduce it, talk about it, and then I'll play it. I'll play the video, and then I'll talk about it a little more.
Leave a transparent window of you in the corner or something. That's all you have to do.
Didn't Tom DeLonge do that thing where he says he's collecting money or royalties because of his likeness or something? I can't think of the terminology for that. I mean, is that anytime you show his face, you have to pay him royalties? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah. They have to pay him for his likeness.
Right. Somehow. I'm not sure what that means.
Music and everything.
Blinking
and the ball's on Tom DeLonge. The ball's on Tom DeLonge. Hi, we took 2 rounds of investment totaling about $2 million. None of the first two rounds of investors made a penny, but I'm going to tell you how great we are and then solicit more investment, which will further dilute the stock, which will further ensure that the first 2 rounds of investors get paid squat nothing. It's like a Ponzi scheme. Just take in new money to spend. Fuck the old investors who, I cannot find a single investor that will even talk to me, because I think that most of the people who gave them money are embarrassed because maybe they feel like they got conned or scammed and they don't want to talk about it, But I know of at least one person I was told that this person gave them $50,000, and I don't think he got a penny back. I don't think he got anything back.
Well, it's obviously these people are making money off stuff that isn't what it is. I mean, look what Mick West had said there. With the Green Pyramid thing. The thing is it wasn't what it was, but yet he still made money off it. So in that way, is it entertainment purposes only? And I know one of these research or these people, these frauds, started putting that on their channel in their description for entertainment purposes. I can't remember which one. I'll have to get back on you with that. But and I'm wondering if that's the reason for it. Because they know
about that. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Lloyd.
Yeah, they opened up investment right before.
They talked about that. Yeah, they talked about that in the hearing about. It's called it amateur, but amateur could be anyone, even if they recently stepped down from, let's say, a Pentagon position. Because he's doing those conventions and stuff.
That's the thing that was disappointing with that whole hearing. I'm sorry. I thought you would. I apologize. Sometimes you got to slap me to shut me up. Was that you have the two military gents there, and all the congressmen, they're reading from their notes, of course. I don't expect them to memorize stuff. You can tell who's really been handed a card and hasn't seen anything yet, how they're reading word for word everything. But you would think, knowing that these hearings were coming up, that they would have looked to online, because don't think that none of them know about the community or anything like that, and look to see out there who may be a prominent person, scientific wise or whatever, that they could have also called in or at least got questions. I don't expect them to testify next to the DOD and all that stuff and the ONI, but I mean, at least get some questions and say like, hey, like, what can I really present out there, instead of just like talking about Wilson memos and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff we don't want to keep bringing up, that crap,
Yeah, and people are doing victory laps, like they discussed the Wilson documents in this hearing. Oh God, like they're such bullshit. The admiral and listen, the admiral mentioned in them said that they were a work of fiction, and also there was another person mentioned in Richard Dolan's 18-hour trying to prove they're real explanation with his anonymous sources and another anonymous source. That other admiral that was mentioned as possibly being involved said, we have nothing. We don't have any crash retrievals. We don't have anything. And even in this hearing, they said we have nothing, which I'm not sure.
That's what he said.
Them, but it's interesting that the UFO community are all rah rah rah. Lou Elizondo, we have biological samples. We have crashed, we have exotic materials. And then the hearing takes place. We don't have anything.
The ONI came right out and just said, he says, no, we do not have anything that's non-terrestrial in our possession.
Right.
He said it straight out like that. Yeah. Now, of course, do you believe him or not? That's the question. Of course, you're going to have people that say he's just lying. You're going to have people say he's telling the truth, but he did address that. And I was just happy about that, because there's so many times whenever officials are asked, not in a public hearing, of course, but out there, that they gloss right over it and just say other or things like that. At least this time they did address the words extraterrestrial and all that. So, but he did state that. There's nothing at least he knows of. But here's something. Did you guys catch it too? And ladies out there, I found interesting was the other gentleman. What is it? Ronald Moultrie is his name? I'm pronouncing it wrong. Bulchi or whatever. Where he said when he was asked about, oh Jesus, what was it? Not just about crash retrievals or anything, but he said that nothing that we have on contract or whatever. In other words, saying nothing, I don't know about anything that's official, but like that leaves the door open of like anything that's on the books, I don't know about. But in other words, can there be black ops going on? Did you not catch
he
that?
talked about blue on blue. They mentioned the blue on blue. You know, but I'm kind of surprised, and I was hoping somebody was going to ask him about that 23-minute video. Like, you're going to ask about Wilson Davis, but you're not going to ask about the 23-minute video.
Exactly.
Which Lou did mention, and I got the recording of it. He did mention it, so he can say that he didn't mention it. I mean, or other people can say that he didn't mention it, but he definitely mentioned it, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, with the military base with the nukes. I mean, those guys didn't know that 10 nukes got shut down, even if it was in the past. I mean, you would think that that would be something that would
exactly.
be
Like
known.
I was shocked.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Very odd that we say nothing about that.
No, I was glad that he come out and he said it straight up, like you said there, Von. You know, terrestrial, not extraterrestrial, terrestrial. You know, and then I guess at some point later it was something like it's something to quell the people that are like saying, "Oh, there's a mystery." No, we're not just saying this because we're lying. It's because it's the truth. You know, in so many words.
Yeah, I think I you know, I know a lot of, look, put it this way, when the triangle, the pyramid thing, when I had made a video about that, I think I told Steven this a while back, and I said, when I seen Mick West, and I said he made a point with the Boca effect, but I said I believe it's a drone, you know, with the FAA regulation blinking and whatever. And I received one of those disposable emails that disappear like in 10 minutes, telling me about how much I'm an idiot. It's not a triangle, it was a pyramid, you idiot. That's what they tell me. And then they leave it off by saying, and may your kids die of cancer. Like real nastiness like that. I was like,
that's what they said.
And here's
I swear
the
if they
video
didn't, I swear I wish I still had this message. And then he ends it with this. And if you don't have kids, may they be born with it. And I just shook it off, but then that stuck in my craw for a while. And I was like, I want to make a video actually telling the person to come to Queens, but I said, I ain't going to go there. I was just like, are you that sick?
That is.
Yeah, this is the great evidence we got today in the hearing. A spherical object that could be anything, most likely just a balloon, that was taken from somebody's iPhone in the back of a jet fighter craft. I don't understand why they wouldn't correlate the data, why they wouldn't look at the gun camera footage from that airplane instead of relying on somebody with an iPhone. And somebody made a point earlier on Twitter, like, you can get a ticket, you can get in a lot of trouble for texting while driving, but you can fly a $30 million aircraft at Mach 2 and be on your iPhone filming balloons, and that's perfectly okay. It doesn't make any sense. Yes, Mark, that is your picture. Thank you for emailing that to me.
I don't think they have Popo up in the sky, so really you can do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's going to stop you at that point? Like, no cop's going to pull beside you and go, excuse me, sir, you know?
Man, all that money and a hearing on the House floor, and they're showing an iPhone picture.
Right? Yeah.
What the hell's going on? I mean,
and the best part was when they showed that, right? When Mr. Bray goes, and I'm going to show you this new one, and he goes, there it is. And like just kept going. Didn't even stop to say, let's rewind that. I think Adam Schiff had to ask, can you show us that? Because like he just went, and there it is. Like that.
Yeah, they could have put the
Adam
media
Schiff
player in
was
slow
bored.
motion, you know, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand all the fanboys that are like, you know, they're. I saw earlier people are trying to spin it as a big win, and to me, it's not a win. It's almost like it felt like kicking the can. you know, and they're all kicking the can going, well, this is just the opening salvo, and the next hearing is going to really have some big drops in it. Okay.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just feels like
Bigger
politics
breadcrumbs.
always
Sounds like a Toronto
deciding
Maple
that,
Leaf thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a big LARP, you know?
Yeah. At least we'll never win a cup. They haven't done it since '67. So, you know, every year we're like, yeah, maybe, you know, next year. No, not this year. Yeah, just like that. Right?
Yeah, well, see, this is something that the people that I call the 2017ers are missing because they haven't been here long enough. You know, like I was here in 2001 when I'm telling you, everybody into UFOs was swearing up and down that Stephen Greer was going to do this disclosure, event at the National Press Club, and then all the lawmakers were going to be forced, the congressmen, the senators, they're all going to be forced to hold open hearings, and we're going to get disclosure. That was 2001, man. And then 2017 rolls around, and Tom DeLonge, he's got all these government friends. He's going to bring us disclosure. That was 5 years ago. Now we've got the Lou fan club that think Lou Elizondo is somehow going to bring us disclosure. I think the people who haven't been here long enough haven't seen this sort of looping pattern. It's coming any day now, you know, and then here's what you get with the disclosure crowd looping pattern. You get a bunch of people hyping up an event like these hearings today, for example, or that UAP report. There was the same level of hyping that all up. This is going to be some big deal. And then what you actually get is a big old nothing burger. And then everybody scurries away and makes excuses, kicks the can. No, the next hearing is going to be the big one. This was just an opening, you know. It's just
that's the thing that's weird. It's like I've been around
nonsense.
for a while.
Just have faith. It's coming. Disclosure's coming any day now.
You know,
I don't think so.
I was hyped up over. Remember, obviously Stephen Greer, but I remember back in the '90s, right? So I'm 51. So I've seen all these cycles. This is going back many decades. So it just keeps coming. And I understand.
At the end of the 80s, it was Bob Lazar for a while was going to bring us.
And I was on that train.
Because of Bob Lazar, they've gotta admit it, because we've got a whistleblower now, a scientist, a former government scientist. Years later, you find out that he was a convicted pimp, fake scientist with a fake education that fixed computers at a lab as a subcontractor. That's the extent of it, you know.
And Bob didn't make the felon list either. That's not fair.
Yeah, why is Bob Lazar not on the felon list?
Yeah, right.
But that's why they don't want to. That's why they want to stop it. You know, they don't want anything before 2004, because if you go back, this is reminiscent of like the 60s when they did the Blue Book, Condon report, all that stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, here, crowd, we'll throw you some crumbs because, you know, we know you want some crumbs. But we're not.
You know, I got
a cake in front of
Snyder,
you.
don't share that dumb dickhead in my live chat. That's the dumb dickhead who doxed me and released my legal name and street address, and then, or no, I'm sorry, he released my legal name and my street name, but then he said, I didn't dox you. Like anybody couldn't take those two things and put them right into Google. First result is my address. Yes, he doxed me. And the Pfister Goon Squad, by the way, the Pfister Goon Squad is doing cartwheels about that list. They love it. And they're spreading disinformation. This dumb dickhead Pfister said everybody on that list doesn't believe UFOs and UAP are real. They're all posers or something like that. And I mean, Stephen Greer's on that list. There's 50 people on this list that are all covering UFOs. I'm pretty sure that most of the people in there at least believe in the possibility of UFOs. But this is the disinformation that's being spread.
Who is that? I keep hearing that.
The Taliban.
Did
you see the Taliban's on it?
I'll talk to you about it off air, Ron. I don't want to give them any more airtime.
Which Lou?
Did you see the Taliban's on the list in the bottom right?
Yeah, they took that off. They took that off, and it was.
Did they?
Oh, did they?
Argued with them to take that off because that's implying we're all terrorists or something.
Which Lou? Which Lou had said something on the along the lines of, oh, there's only really like 80 real researchers and stuff. So think of this: if there's only 80, and I don't remember which Lou said it. If there's only 80 and there's 55 on that list, that means that there's 25 left over that are actually telling the truth, that aren't frauds, that aren't felons.
Rob the idiot Heatherly has said, this is history in the making. Yeah, it's another nothing burger in the history of UFOs. That means nothing, will lead to nothing, and will change nothing. Good job,
Let's see. You
dummy.
know what I see come out of this hearing for UAPs is, okay. You got one of two things: the government's lying. Oh yeah, that's always going to be there. And then you got the other side that says, "See, I told you they were fake." You know, it's actually causing more division if you think of it. At least that's how I see it.
Josh and Artemis is asking, does anybody know who made that list? Yes, it was a brand new, nameless, faceless
Yeah,
Twitter account that
yeah,
only posts pro Lou
yeah.
ass licking posts. Every post is Lou Elizondo is the savior of disclosure in the UFO world, and everybody that doesn't like him is a terrorist or a
Maybe it was
criminal.
Richard Butt.
Yeah, Dick Butt.
Josh, I'll send you the, or Josh and Artemis, I'll send you the name there. I'm not going to link it in here. I'm not going to link any of those fools. You know, I don't even want any attention brought to these fools, you know, as far as
Thank you,
that's concerned.
Dorothy. I appreciate that. You know, and
You
I
got
do
me
know that some
blocked.
people. I think Fessler was suspended off of Twitter, but I don't know if that was related. I don't know. You know, but apparently some channels can get away with doxing people, directing people to crowd strike other YouTube channels that they disagree with. This is just a wild west out here.
Just crazy over
I can't get
this.
away with any of that shit. If I did any of that, I would
Right.
my channel would be deleted instantly.
Yes.
You would think somebody was
Well, you
threatening your
about
life
did.
or
I
something.
mean,
The way they go about this, it's just insane. Like that. I had somebody wish death on my kids or be born with cancer
Yeah,
because I said a friggin' thing might be a drone.
I get
That's
emails
crazy.
like that. And did you know, Ron, somebody, and I suspect it's from that same crew of Lou's goons, somebody came in my live chat and actually threatened my family and my wife by name. You know, they said
Yeah.
something like, "Oh, she looks great tonight. I'm outside your house,"
Oh, I
and
wish
used
they
her
would.
name. I lost my goddamn mind.
I
But
remember that.
somebody made a new YouTube account, came in the live chat and did that, and then deleted the YouTube account so that the messages were no longer in the live chat.
But YouTube still has that, though. Believe that or
They
not.
do, perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, legally they have to keep those things for, well, it used to be 2 years. I think they jumped it up to 5 years.
They have compliance records.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. So even though these people delete these files, and it doesn't matter if it's on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, doesn't matter. All of them have to comply with this. They have to retain the records of every single thing that went on. You know,
Yeah,
chat.
and there's
Discovery
another
Oh yeah.
purposes.
there's another issue with this dumb dickhead Lou Elizondo releasing private messages without permission of both parties. I don't know if that's legal, but
Not
you
in
know,
California. It's not.
I know that a few people mentioned on that list were throwing around legal terms like libel and slander. If somebody were to sue Lou Elizondo, they would get subpoena rights, and they would also get the right to depose him. He would have to sit there all day and answer any questions that they wanted him to. I don't think he wants to go. Go tell a judge I have an NDA. I can't talk about that.
Yep.
Go tell a judge that, right? And if people start subpoenaing things like personal private messages that mention me in Lou Elizondo's emails, or personal private emails, or his phone records, or you can get everything through subpoena. He doesn't want to open that can of worms. He ought to back off and stop doing slimy things like that.
Because he could get people in trouble too, because you never know. I'm sure he still has contacts within the government.
Oh yeah.
You don't know. I'm just saying this, speculating, but I would feel pretty confident that he reaches out to people, and that could come out and get people in trouble who maybe he's handing them information on people that shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? So it's really bad. I just think that for him, and again, I don't know Elizondo, like most of us don't know him from a hole in the wall personally, but like for the guy that came out with all that stuff to now, like how he condones this stuff and everything, and instead of just stepping away or ignoring it, like I see a lot of issues. Well, he is the one that came out and said he wants to tear and burn down ufology. And people say, oh, it was just a metaphor or something. Nah.
Well, he's doing a good job of it. He's dividing people. He's turning people against each other. He's turning people against content creators who he disagrees with or doesn't like. And, you know, I have a huge problem with that. Like, be a man, Lou Elizondo. Why don't you grow a set of balls, you 5'1" midget, right? Why don't you grow a set of balls, you bitter? He is a bitter, angry little man.
He is.
Why don't you come and face your critics, answer some hard questions, and not do all this slimy, shady shit in the background, or have your goon squad do it for you. Because listen, I think that people are starting to realize that he may be a lot more involved with all of this than he can deny. Right?
Yeah.
Why would all these people be viciously trying to discredit anybody asking questions, viciously trying to turn people against people asking questions,
Yeah, and then
viciously damaging people's reputation? My name's out there. All these people are asking me if I'm a criminal. No, I'm not. I'm not a felon. I must be one of the mentally unstable people that he mentioned. Because I'm mentally unstable because I don't believe his bullshit. And if anybody wants to know what Lou Elizondo's true motive is, read the letter to the AG that he wrote complaining because they would not verify his fake bullshit job as a director of a Pentagon UFO program that did not even exist.
He was on CNN tonight.
Yeah, in the letter, he specifically says in that letter, you guys doing this is making it very difficult for me to make a living for myself and my family. So basically what he says in this letter is, if you guys don't verify my fake role in a fake Pentagon program that does not exist as the director, it was a program. Oh, it was an activity, not a program. If you guys don't start backing up my fake UFO claims, I'm going to have a hard time making a living. So he's spelling out, I'm trying to make money off of UFOs, and you Pentagon people telling people I had no direct role, I didn't have a leadership role, the program, Lou was not in the program, he wasn't the director of the program. They're messing up his UFO grift. That's what it's about here. It's about the UFO dollars.
He was counting on being able to have that direct, which it's already stuck to his name, but now he's saying, or Sean Cahill's saying, he was the director for 24 hours while it changed hands, and he was set up the counterintelligence part. So it sounds like
I was the boss for 24 hours. He said he was the head of it for 10 years. He said he was the head of the government's UFO Pentagon program for 10 years. He's trying to get that. He's trying to get the UFO dollars. Grab them while you can, Lou Elizondo. All those UFO dollars are going away. There's cracks everywhere. The house of cards is falling down. It's all going away. And in 2 years, here's my prediction. In 2 years, Lou Elizondo is going to be just another UFO grifter like Linda Moulton Howdy Doody, or like, let's see, Richard Dolan, or any of the other people running around all the UFO conferences telling their fairy tales with their fake dead sources or their fake witnesses, their fake anonymous sources, telling UFO huckster, telling UFO fairy tales. That's what he's going to be in 2 years. He's going to be just another one of these UFO celebrity grifters. And joining us is Jeremy Rise, alien scientist, is here.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's happening?
How's it going, eh?
A real scientist.
See that? Yeah, this was an awesome day. We look forward to this one all year, huh? Big nothing burger, man.
Oh shit, yeah, bud.
Like, how can we know more about this subject than the people, briefing Congress and the House Select?
Exactly.
Jeremy, could you imagine if you and I got to sit there together and you and I got to talk through what we would show them and tell them? Like, we would just destroy all these UFO celebrities, like all of this. This is Boca. Why is this guy getting paid on Fox News for showing people fake UFO footage, claiming it's alien pyramids? Why is Lou Elizondo allowed to basically, borrow Pentagon UFO videos and then profit from them for 5 years straight and then cry when the Pentagon contradicts his story? They would have been crying when we were done if we got an hour to brief these senators about what's really going on here.
Yeah, it's true. I've written to all my senators and all my congressmen locally here in Rhode Island. It's a small state, and I figured if any of them are interested in it, then I'd have their attention, because with the emails that I've sent them, and the information that I've put in those emails. But I don't know. I've just had no interest. I've had no response here, and what did you think about you have this? I kind of did, I wanted to hear your opinion, because you talk about all these grifters and stuff. What did you think about Senator? What was his name? The one that was saying that.
Yeah. What are the consequences for people who are purposefully
good? Yeah, purposefully.
Yeah, I like that part.
Pushing misinformation for their own agenda. I think some of the senators may have looked into this and gotten a sense that people like Lou Elizondo or people like Jeremy Corbell are purposefully getting, at least those two have purposefully gotten government property and pushed it as something that it clearly is not.
Yeah.
I feel they addressed that, though. I felt that they addressed that by them saying that they're lying. They're straight up lying, and they don't care what they're doing because it's not what they're saying it is. So the government does not care. They're not going to pursue it.
Lou better watch out. He's got Adam Russiagate shift on the case, so he better watch out.
Yeah, I thought that was funny too. This guy being in a congressional hearing where they're talking about misinformation. He's like the king of the fake Russia whole thing. And he has still never, I heard somebody ask him about that, and he still kind of doubled down. He's not willing to let that go. It was all Russian misinformation. Same for the laptop.
He looks like the guy from Toy Story, the cowboy.
Actually, Shift almost seemed like he was getting mad because it wasn't going the way he wanted. I did notice that. He
looked like bored, like I've seen better than this or whatever,
But this was like the in-person UAP report. Remember, we got the 9-page public one, and then the annex, the classified annex, and that was today. We get the public hearing, and then they get the annex, classified one. And it's just corny because I would love to know, though, like, when they did bring up the underwater sensors, like, of course, subs and all that stuff. I'm curious, like, what we got going on under there, because like somebody said before, we know way more about the landscape of Mars than we do of our own oceans. I think we know like less than 10% of that from the last stats I heard, which is insane. But I mean, I don't know. We can hit an asteroid 10 million miles away with a washing machine size probe, but we can't figure out something to go down under the pressure.
Back in the I think it was the 1950s. Look up SOFAR, SOFAR, and they had triangulation on the SOFAR channel. There's a spot, the sweet spot down in the ocean where there's a sound channel where sound, that's where the whales go down to actually communicate over many, many miles of distance on those really low frequencies. And so they have a lot of these systems set up with triangulation across the Pacific Ocean. They had them set up during World War II. To detect, any type of a boat would sink or an airplane would crash or lost sailors, and in their emergency kits, if they got stranded at sea, they used to have these small spheres, these just metal spheres. They were called SOFAR spheres, SOFAR, and they would they were instructed to drop one into the water and then wait another half an hour and drop another one into the water, and then what those spheres would do is like a depth charge. It will go down to a certain it will go down to that SOFAR channel and implode, and it will and that noise will be picked up by these microphone systems that were in place during World War II. So I mean, just imagine what they have now with the amount of funding. I could, if me and my scientist friends had to sit there and think about how do we build detectors to track what's moving around in our oceans, damn well we could come up with some pretty ingenious stuff.
Of course, I mean,
B. Baker is saying that Sean Cahill was being interviewed with Lou on some show. Sean started insulting people in the chat room during the interview, and there's new information. I heard on this Josh and Artemis show that Lou Elizondo is doing an interview this week with somebody that is turning off the live chat and the comments, because I guess Lou Elizondo is such a bitter, angry little man that he can't take. And when he was on Theories of Everything, people were talking shit on me in the live chat. People were attacking me. It's so ridiculous that a former military man has such a thin skin that he needs he's got to argue with people.
Yeah.
Or
I
swear, maybe he's cracking up. Maybe he sits there with actual sock puppets, like, "You're gonna say some shit about me. I'm gonna post some shit on you on Twitter." Yeah.
I'm looking at
I
what
won't
Jeremy
forget my
was
real
talking
name.
about. I'm on this sofarocean.com. Well, but it's showing like the devices like these. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna bookmark this site. I'm curious. Think about that. 5% of the oceans. So we always talk about UFOs. What about USOs? Right?
Well,
Like, I mean,
when they brought that up in the hearing about what about the underwater stuff or the transmedium stuff? They hushed straight up. They's like, we'll have to speak in closed doors.
Yeah, that was like, I'm like, oh yeah, want to be part of that conversation.
Yeah.
You know, the fly on the wall.
Room. There you go. Fly in the room, right?
Yeah, that would have been something, or they should have said something about it. You know, at least lie about it, for crying out loud. Something, but nothing.
I
Damn.
really feel that one not the triangle Jeremy stuff crap. The first one they showed the only thing they showed, that little orb or balloon, whatever it was. I think that was kind of like, okay, the public UFO community, they've been screaming, they want public hearings. Here, give us a little nugget, and now shut up. That's it. Like they just
because
threw a little
nobody
something
else
out.
has seen it, right? Nobody else has seen that.
Yeah,
Looks
so
like a
now that's
balloon.
something that the
that's a
UFO
new
community could argue
Looks
over.
like a
and
balloon
everything
to
like
me,
that.
and I've seen a balloon at high altitude in an airplane before. And it's, you know, if you don't know what you're looking at, it's easy to mistake it as something more than it is, right?
Could it also be an attempt? I mean, I just thought of this. Could it also be an attempt to say, "Look how ridiculous this study is"? I mean, I mean, we're looking at balloons floating in the air,
And that's how we treated it. Like,
Yeah.
I think
there you
that might
go, like that. It was,
I'm curious if that video, the one that's the balloon going by the cockpit, if that's the video that Lou was talking about being in a war zone. Some of them get right up by the cockpit, you know.
Yeah,
And
it
he
did
was
look
talking
like
about a war zone. So I'm curious if that's the one that he was talking about, you know, way back.
but did you
I
hear
don't
that?
know. I'm just tired of the nothing burgers from that guy.
No,
You
but
know,
wait, did you
Yeah.
hear
give us
that
3
Congressman?
videos in 5 years that prove nothing, and you're at the top of the game of this thing. It's absolutely ridiculous to me.
But-
Come on, man.
But did you hear the congressman talk about, he was bringing up the 5 observables, and they said that they don't have data on anything that are like hitting those 5 observables. You know, the ones that Lou Elizondo about, what was it? Transmedium, the angles, and out of the data, because they went from 100 and something reports, now they have 400, but they don't have anything on those 5 observables. Or did I hear that wrong? I don't know.
That's what I thought he said. And I thought he said that some of that 400 are older cases also.
Yeah, and that's the thing I
That's
was
what I
telling you
thought he said,
before.
but-
Between Project Blue Book up to 2004, in between, that's when the Ronald Moultrie said he doesn't know of anything like officially. That's what he said. So anything Black Op or whatever, but he just said officially, no, I don't know nothing.
Well, he mentioned something too about contractors or special access programs, but I don't remember what he
SAPs,
said
of course.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think somebody asked him, "Are you sure it's not ours?" You know, and we're testing it on ourselves. And he gave some vague answer about contractors and SAPs and something about blue on blue.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting talk about, you know, programs that are things that are going on that are, you know, even ongoing programs that are not, you know, what they said that they were for, and there's other stuff going on under those programs that even the directors and stuff aren't even aware of. So I like that it highlighted a lot of that, because I don't know, there's more to the secrecy and how everything's compartmentalized, and I have my own theories and my own information that I've gotten through investigations. You know, like they talked about these metals. They said we have no debris or materials. It's like, yeah, we do. We have documented cases going back to 1947 where you've recovered, you know, pieces of metal from UFO.
Something. Yeah, you've recovered something.
So
Yeah, listen, look at Kecksburg, you know, but I think that maybe there is certainly they've recovered, you know, foreign technology, but maybe not that foreign. You know, maybe it's Russian technology with satellite crash. They go and they pick it up. Of course, they're going to want to pick it apart and see what it's made of, what they have,
if it's from the 1940s, it should be declassified by now, though.
You would think so.
That's what the question was.
This next month, Roswell 75 years ago.
They questioned whether there was something from the air that crashed into the ground and did you recover it, and it was no. But then when they asked, was there something in the oceans and recovered it, they hushed up. Now
yeah,
that
we
I
have
remember.
to talk about that in the close. Yeah, and thank you, Vitska, for $1.99 super sticker. Praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. Viewer supported show. The best way to do that is to throw money at us, right? And Jeremy, you and I always we have talked off air about this, that it is very frustrating that all of these clowns make millions of dollars for lying to people or misleading people or lying by omission. And meanwhile, you know, there are people that are really, really doing good work and researching and trying to get to the truth, but not willing to lie to their audience. And we have it's like trying to run a marathon with two broken legs, trying to do this honestly, isn't it, Jeremy? Like,
you know, there's a saying that a lie will go around the world 7 times before the truth can put its shoes on.
Yeah, that's the way to put it. Yeah,
I've heard that. Yeah,
yeah,
it's true. It is, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm very discouraged by, I'm very discouraged by the fact that, like, it's natural. I try not to be jealous, but I see some of these numbers some of these guys get, and I see the money that they're making. We've got Corey Good made $750,000 from one course that he didn't even write. Somebody wrote the course for him. He just did like a Zoom session with everybody that bought the course and read off a script. He made $750,000. Meanwhile, Jeremy, I used to say I want Taco Bell wages. I'm at the level of Taco Bell wages. Now I want Home Depot or like Lowe's wages. That's my next goal. Get a bump up.
I got a little bit off put by Mr. LaHood's comments during that hearing about sending people to jail who spread misinformation or disinformation.
Yeah, because what does he mean? He can mean us.
I know that's
because he disagrees with us. Yeah.
Unlike Jeremy Corbell, I would gladly defend any of my information in court. I would go before Congress and defend my information. I don't think Corbell would do that.
No, not under oath. He'd have to tell everybody where his anonymous sources are getting this shit. And you
really find Mike Thigpen on Facebook, like you claimed?
Yeah, and you know what, Jeremy? It's always awesome to me that right here on my channel we have definitive proof that Bob Lazar never stepped foot on Area 51 in a on the record interview, and we have definitive proof from all of Bob Lazar's supervisors at Los Alamos that he was never a physicist. He was a technician. Somebody got to the supervisors, got on the record comments. Jeremy Corbell has never commented on that. Done. Why would you not comment on your whole story crashing to the ground?
Because he's going to ride it all the way.
It's the Cosmic Con shuffle. I talked about this before. You put out the fake information and the UFO fairy tales, and then you make all the money. And after a little while, though, people start picking apart the story, and the story falls apart, and you just shuffle on, and you find a new fake story. They all do it. That's what they all do, right?
And you recycle the same old ones 10 years later because people forget. And then there's a new generation that's into it, you know? The 20-year-olds who grew up and they became 30 and they got into UFOs.
He's asking a great question. Have the JFK assassination records ever been fully released? No. Wasn't last year a deadline. I think Trump was supposed to release those, and there's a very interesting story about Judge Neapolitan. That guy, Judge, he's
Patano.
Yeah, he was friends with Trump, and he said, "What are you doing, Donald Trump? You promised you were going to release those files. You have to." And Donald Trump's exact words were, "If you saw what was in those files, you would understand why there's no way on earth I could release them." So there's gotta be some bombshells.
They'll kill me too.
Yeah, they did release what they call the JFK files. It's around a little bit over 400 megabytes of PDFs and stuff.
A lot of people still don't know about the work that was done by Shaughnessy, I think his name was, on the
Biden did push the deadline back to 2025. He pushed the deadline back.
The RFK assassination in 1968, there was they have pictures from the hotel where they've identified Gordon Campbell, George Joannides, and David Sanchez Morales, all 3 CIA agents involved in like the assassinations program. And they said that the security guard at the Ambassador Hotel that night was a guy named Caesar. And he was a Lockheed Martin security guard. And
he was just hired at the hotel several weeks before the assassination. And isn't that convenient?
There were 7 bullet holes in the autopsy. The final kill shot came from up and behind. So and Sirhan was standing in front with a 6-shot revolver. So there was a 7th shot that killed him, and it came from behind. And that was this Lockheed Martin Skunk Works security guard that was escorting him into that kitchen when it happened. So
yeah, see that they were going to let him out, but they didn't. He was up for parole.
The most recent release,
Bobby Kennedy Jr. Talks about it, and even he thinks that deserves parole.
That's his father and his uncle that were both. He believes. I think that he believes and knows they were killed by the CIA, allegedly, and he wants all files released. If the family of the murder victim wants all the files released, I don't think the government should be allowed to hold on anymore.
Yeah, but Trump can't be the one to do it because he was the president, and he's like, dude, I don't want no part of this.
Yeah,
the dude that shot Reagan or tried to shoot Reagan, he was recently out of jail. Yeah, I saw he was playing. Yeah, I saw he was playing at a some kind of a music festival thing.
Some kind of weird connection
somewhere in New York. Yeah, it's weird. It was weird when I saw the article.
He had some weird CIA connections too.
Neil Bush or something.
Yeah.
See, even with the release or the latest release of the JFK files, it really didn't shine much more light onto it. If anything, it wasn't really all that much. So what they said the date's up to 2025. Well, let's see when we get there. I guess not too far away.
They're gonna push it back again. They're gonna wait till everybody from that generation, a little after born 69, all that is all dead.
Yeah, they keep saying it's national security reasons. Why? I mean,
what about the UFO stuff when they say sources and methods? I understand that, but what about stuff from the 50s that's like obsolete technology or whatever they use? Why can't we see stuff that they have from then? Where you only see triple Xerox copies of papers that they say best copy, and that's it. That's what we get to read.
Yeah, we have recordings of the SOFAR channel that go back to the 50s. So, like, where are those? We've got to have like some unidentified noises, and I know I've heard a couple from there's a couple out there, these noises that they've recorded that they don't know what they are, the mystery noises and stuff.
What can we possibly be giving up from 7 decades ago? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, look, Jeremy, you had T.D. Barnes on, which was an amazing interview, man. That was awesome. And there was still stuff that he wouldn't talk about from way back then. He said that some of that stuff was still possibly classified. I believe, didn't he?
He was like, this kid knows the right questions to ask.
Yeah.
He's smiling. He had his smile from ear to ear throughout that whole interview.
Yeah, I thought that was great. You did a great job because I think even the fact that he was unwilling to answer questions about events so long ago is very telling. It's evidence.
It's still classified.
Absence of evidence is not evidence. But when a guy like that is like, well, I can't talk about that. Like,
some of these NDAs are lifelong. These NDAs are lifelong. Yeah.
But meaning that we'll never hear anything that we want to hear.
Back to the hearings.
It should be called never disclose agreement.
Unless
what does everybody think of this new program?
Do the Howard Hunt where they tape the confession and give it to their son.
Yeah. What does everybody think of the hearing and this new group forming now? Is this just going to be another kick the can and we're never going to get anything out? I don't believe we're ever going to get anything out of the government. They're not going to tell us.
This new group. Isn't it aren't they going to review like all the military footage and all that stuff to make sure that it doesn't get released? They're going to make sure all things like that are classified.
Or they're going to push that threat narrative. It's for their threat narrative. That's what they're doing.
That's it. That's all it's built for. They're not going to release anything because everything they catch It's going to be on sensitive equipment, which is sources and methods, which they're not going to. They already made that perfectly clear. We're never going to see anything from the government. The only way is an outside project like Galileo project. I had hope for until they brought certain people in that are affiliated with the government. That's that now, But I don't think. I personally don't think nothing's going to come out of the government.
Even they said that, oh well, we're going to limit what we give you now. At what? Because of military secrets, national security. It all comes down to that every single time. National security, no matter what it is.
I think they're worried they're going to catch. I think they're worried they're going to catch some top secret satellites up there, and they don't want those getting broadcast out.
I don't know I read this Avi Loeb's book, and it's kind of a hard read, but at least it was for me. I don't know, but he does give some really convincing arguments for this Oumuamua being an artificial construct and not a natural, it's not a comet, it's not an asteroid, and here's why. The thing sped up. The thing behaved in ways that would not conform to what gravity in that part of the solar system would do to a natural object. It changed course, flies right by Earth.
I think Avi's an intelligent man, but judging
now
from
he's
years
involved
ago,
with the Grifter Squad, so he's ruined.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He was always considered by his colleagues as rogue because he never liked the traditional physics model. He ignored it. He's like, we need to expand over here. Okay, that's fine and dandy. Go ahead and explore new areas, but don't say that the traditional model was wrong. Can you prove that it was wrong? I mean, and that's why I don't like Avi Loeb. I mean, granted, I think he's a smart, intelligent guy. I think he knows what he's looking at and what he's talking about. But does he tell you the truth, or does he tell you some crazy story he just come up in his mind that's outside of the natural physics, or the traditional physics?
And I just hate when right after they come out with a book. That's the thing that always bothers me. You know what I mean? That always
right after the book
throws mud on stuff, and he is brilliant, but that's the only thing that bothers me when all these people always come out with a book right after something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's about the book sales though. Because that book, like he said, it's a hard read. It's probably written for specific audiences that just want the information. And honestly, with Harvard, he's got enough funding there. Yeah. He doesn't have to worry about any of that. I mean, Harvard has so much money. Even during the deep recessions, like 2008, I was working in Harvard.
It's all rich kids that go there, so of course
they always have money.
They always have money. And all the rich daddies buy a new lab for them, or a new library, or build a new.
But I'm not saying that he did it for the money. I just said I hate when that happens. Right after it, always his point. It just puts all the naysayers on that. You know what I mean? But I think he's brilliant.
Hey, Cambion, if you ever make a book, I would buy it. You should make a book. I'm just saying, I could sell it to these people, my neighbors and stuff, They're all nice here, Just saying.
Right? I actually am. I got about 100 pages of a book that I'm so far titling The Great Cosmic Con, What the UFO People Don't Want You to Know About. And it's about all of the slimy, scammy shit that I can prove these people have done, like interviewing dead people to sell a fake story about aliens, or people with their fake military sources, or people using murderers and child molesters and rapists.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You got to have a bending spoon.
Eisenhower brought us out to Area 51.
Just as a selling point, Cambion, just as a selling point, you have to call the book in Canada good shit, And it would sell it would sell pretty good here in Canada anyway.
Yeah, and people have asked me about this CIA deathbed. Well, if the guy was dead, then who did they interview? Was that an actor, or was it? You got to ask Richard Dolan and Jeremy Corbell. They're the ones that did the hoax, not me. I don't know who they interviewed, but the original source they claimed they were interviewing died 5 years before that interview. So, but I like that idea for a book because it's kind of like showing. I don't know. Maybe I focused too much on the slimy side of UFOs, but
so what? That's it. Yeah. That's the reader's choice.
Yeah,
right?
but that, like, listen, I'm going to write this book because I wish that somebody had given me a book like that when I first got into this really heavily, because I could have saved myself hundreds of hours of listening to people like Linda Moulton Howe or Richard Dolan or any of them.
Like,
Because
come
I
on.
didn't know. I just
It's
didn't
still
know.
a
I'm like,
good
Jesus
show.
Christ, all the
It's
shit
still a
they
good
talk about
show.
is fake. It took me a while to figure it out, And then with each source or lecturer or UFO personality, I have to digest all their material and then do some research, fact check them, and figure out if they're on the level or if they're garbage. It would be better if there was a book and you could just go through the book and read all the trash, garbage peddler stuff.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Call it Trash Panda. And
UFO
it just
scammers,
right.
you got
trashy
UFO
pandas of
scammers for
ufology.
dummies,
Hey,
Yeah.
Jeremy.
UFO scammers for dummies.
Jeremy, I'm actually, because 6 Cents put a link to your page, and I'm glad he did because I'm subbing to your channel now. I was interested in this. I actually made a video, and I'm glad you did. I want to watch it after this. Is that about the 2014? When we talking about Harvard, about the media that crashed into the Pacific Ocean, 2014. That Avi Loeb, I think they a paper that was held back by the government.
I don't know when it came out. I didn't hear that backstory.
No, you made a video. It says 3 weeks ago, streamed, about Harvard astrophysicist says alien tech crashed into the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, I guess some pieces they tracked that fell off of Oumuamua actually wound their way and crashed somewhere.
Was it from Oumuamua? Because they said, I think those pieces were traveling over 100,000 miles an hour. Yeah.
They there were pieces that fell off or fragments that fell off. And Avi thinks because it changed, direction and all those other weird anomalies that they could have been probes that were sent out,
Oh, wow.
Well, that's scary.
That's cool.
That means
Did you
the
see where they
invasion could be
found-
coming any day now, Jeremy. That
Some
was
scientists
the
Come to
found-
Canada, hey, don't come to Canada.
Well, when
Well,
asked
Scientists
about,
found,
I talk about in that video is I basically say like that. Yeah, we have some of these systems. I talk about the SOFAR stuff. I talk about some of these other systems that we have for tracking objects that fall into the ocean, and that if the Navy doesn't have a recovery team on that and didn't have a recovery team on it, then they're not doing their jobs. I'm sorry.
But I'm interested. I'm going to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, there were some scientists that found that tracked 2 meteorites that landed in the Mississippi River, and they were able to go find them, which is crazy that they were able to find them.
see what Avi Loeb did originally there is he said the reasoning why it was accelerating and being unusual was because it could have been some alien craft or something that was propelled propelled by solar sails, and that was his explanation originally. Which, when you do the research, you find out that he was on a board. He was the head of the board that was selling solar sails. So I'm like saying this just doesn't, that's conflict of interest in my mind. I mean, it's right there.
Welcome
We need to get
ice
like
cream
a
shots.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Because if the Navy had to have gone and looked for that already, Avi Loeb says he wants money to go and look for it and track where those objects went and look for them. But come on, wasn't like someone should do some FOIAs and see if the Navy knows anything.
Small object dropped in the middle of the ocean, and you want to go find it. Good luck. Talk about funding. You're gonna need an awful lot of funding.
I'm going to watch that video, and I'll do that.
You know,
I'll put some FOIAs in. I'll do that.
I thought it was probably the most incredible part of the hearing to me was that they have these UAPs coming in and out of our airspace, and we were told to essentially believe that if you get in those restricted airspaces, we won't even simply honk at you, let alone shoot at you or try to get in communication. Isn't that interesting?
How they denied communicating with them.
Right.
It's like, did you communicate with them? And they're like, no. Like, why not?
But there was also no detectable form of propellant, or what was actually making it move, or if it was moving at all.
Well, I thought Bray's excuse was very odd. He said, well, they seem to be unpiloted. Well, how could you even make that assumption if you don't even know what they are?
Right.
Or done those procedures, try to communicate with it, see what its intentions are. Wasn't there anything, something?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way they haven't tried to say hey to him. There's no way. It was kind of the silliest thing to lie about. It seemed like.
Well, I'm sure. You know, listen, my father was a military man, and I'm sure that he talked a little bit about UFOs with me when I was younger, and he mentioned that the first thing a pilot does when they have an unidentified near them or on their scope is you know, try to communicate with them. You know, like unknown craft at this bearing. You know, they try to communicate with them, but who's to say if it's a drone, nobody's hearing that, you know?
Well,
If
see,
these
that's
are
why
drones or advanced, you know, hypersonic drones or whatever.
it has your question. Do you really believe that the military would let these things hang around them? And I've seen the report for 2 years, you know, they were seeing these things and they just stayed there every day. You know, I'm like saying, wait a minute here. Wouldn't you make some attempt to go identify them? Wouldn't you go make some attempt to say, hey, look at this is restricted airspace? Or
Yeah, and
just shoot
I think this is problematic from a defense standpoint because they're basically the United States is telegraphing to its adversaries and enemies that you can fly drones over our restricted airspace
we won't do nothing.
we won't shoot them down. We won't
Yep.
do anything. Why have they not tried to shoot them down?
Stephen,
doesn't
I'm
make
sorry.
sense.
I have to jump off. So
Sure.
I
Hey,
just want to thank you for
Hey, Ron,
thank you
have a
for
good
having
one,
me.
Thanks for that printer. You got me started, and then I bought a big one, and now I got 2 of them going at once at all times.
Invest in it. I just bought an airbrush system. So if you want to paint them up, definitely get into the airbrush. But
I'll
anyway,
talk to you off air about the 3D printing stuff. But listen,
you all so much.
my goal is reached now because I finally got started with 3D printing, and I'm able to 3D print my prototype computers, cases, and everything.
Awesome. Well,
Took a
my
while
pleasure.
to figure
Thank
it
you all
out,
so
and
much.
I have a friend helping me to do it in Blender. But we're going to get that computer case made, and now I'm going to be under the gun. I got to get the circuit boards and the inside of this maniac thing I'm working on done, thanks to you.
And check out, besides Cura and Blender, Matter Control is actually a real simplified one. I like Matter Control. So
I've heard of it. I'm still in Blender. We'll figure that one out at a time, right?
All right. Well, anyway, I'm sorry to jump like that, but thank you all so much for letting me
good
hear
for
me
being
blabber.
here. Everybody, check out Ron from Cosmic Neighbors. Just put Cosmic Neighbors in the YouTube search bar. You'll find his channel. Excellent fact-based research and work and commentary on UFOs. He's one of the good guys, not one of the huckster liars.
Sounds like good shit, eh? So, yeah.
Good shit, eh? Good night.
I know, right, eh? That's crazy.
Have
a good one, dude.
There we go. Yeah, we're going to be wrapping things up here. I think mostly, you know, I didn't want to do an I told you so, and I didn't say this was going to be a nothing burger, but I said that I expected the worst, but I would hope for the best. I thought we were going to get a little something. I thought we were going to get at least one decent quality video, something. We got nothing.
I thought it was interesting of why even bring a video that was worse quality than the Nimitz 3 videos already. Like, what would be the point in bringing a lesser video?
Right. That was horrible. That was a disaster.
No, it was history making today, according to some stupid people. Today we made history.
Okay, what do other countries think of this? You know, or the countries that might be the ones.
Sixth Sense. Talk to people from England because Ollie from Alien Addict, and he's got other English people that are on his show a lot. They basically said that this is a United States phenomenon. They don't hear nothing about UFOs in England at all. Nobody cares. This is a United States focused interest, and all of their UFO information they have to get out of the United States because that's where it's all coming from. There's not much in other countries. What about you, Conundrum, in Canada? What is the?
Because we're so attached, right? So we do get sightings here, and the Mint, they make these like collector coins and stuff. And one year they made one with a famous UFO crash on it, and so you could buy this coin, this gold coin, with a UFO crash on it, and we're aware of it in Canada. Is it talked about? I don't know. Maybe not. It's a lot Americanized, right? So, yeah, but we do see crafts. So,
do you think maybe England has this type of anti-fraud type law that says,
I
look,
think that they do, yeah.
and I kind of wondered that. Why are all these other countries so interested in our UFO research and not their own? Maybe that answers it. Huh.
Hey, thank you, Anthony Peterson, for your kind and generous $5. Says, thanks for putting together the panel. I don't do anything. I just post a link. I'm so excited.
I just work for free.
Yeah. Did you hear that, Jeremy?
Ambien just abuses me.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, eh?
We're gonna have 5. I'm gonna have 5 new slaves on my show, alien scientists, because I need to be able to compete with other UFO shows that have 5 people doing slave labor for free. I don't think that's fair. So I'm putting out the call. If you want to be a slave for the show, email me and let me know. You got to do 30 hours a week, though.
I was saying that since, Elizondo's accusing us all of being this well-organized team that's,
yeah, I read that message. I thought it was great. I'm upset that certain people did not reply to that, and I was going to talk to you. I was going to call you. I just been crazy busy trying to move the streaming setup. And
we all got to come up with like the counterintelligence organization, I guess you'd call it, and to really stick it to these counterintelligence agents misinforming everyone and about the reality, here. And oh God, the Boca video.
Oh yeah, Jeremy. Let's end on this. I said earlier, I don't know if you heard, but that I think Corbell is going to spin that and say, "See, my work is so important that they mentioned it in the congressional hearings." When really they were saying this is fake as shit and somebody's putting out misinformation.
Yes. They even
spin it, right?
Putting people like him in jail for this, which, yes, I approve of that message.
Yeah.
He's already doubling down.
At some point, I think that some people have, in the UFO community, selling their fake stories knowingly and willingly, hoaxing things or faking things. To me, that's consumer fraud. You're saying this is a true story, and it's bullshit, or it's Boca, or it's drones with FAA lights.
It's
at some point.
What's even worse is that I think that I have this deep, sick feeling that it was all put on as a stage. But
look at this UCR today was Jimmy Church and Christina Gomez. And listen, there may be a reason that Lou from UCR doesn't want to call out Jimmy Church for all the fraudsters and hucksters and fakers that he has promoted and pumped up and worked with over the years. That's all I'll say. There's a reason that he won't do that. And it's not because, he doesn't know about it. Listen, Jimmy Church has promoted and profited from, let's see, Emery Smith, David Wilcock, and Corey Good. The three biggest bullshitters. Bullshitters.
He's a pretty smart guy. I called into Jimmy Church on the live.
I heard that, yeah.
And so he knew about Wheeler. He knew about some of this other stuff. So he's not a stupid guy. He loves to promote fakers and fraudsters and people like Sarah Adams selling Stargates to sick, vulnerable people. Oh, I'm sorry. She sells courses in how to open a Stargate, and she also sells medbed sessions. And then she made a medbed out of a tanning booth. Jimmy Church platformed her, didn't even ask her about the tanning booth with the magnets glued in it that she was going to be selling sessions when he interviewed her.
Well, I'm sorry. Praise the cash. You know that.
Somebody cozying up to him or having him as a guest and not asking him about these issues is a cop-out. It is, and then to put on your channel like your source for credible news. Okay, very credible. Not asking him about any of that fraudery, fakery, right? Yeah, B. Baker says blink twice if Stephen is holding you hostage.
Well, the last couple times
I'm blinking. Nobody's watching me.
Thanks for reminding me. I'm an alien. I have to remember to blink every once in a while. So
yes. You're like Mark Zuckerberg. You got to be reminded. I got to blink. Appear human. Drink some water. Appear human.
The last couple of times Christina was on UCR, he was on there, which is weird.
Yeah, but and that's another thing.
It seems like that he's
if you've got somebody on your show that is actively promoting things that are proven fake, fraud stories, like the Montauk Project, which was about a dude that liked to watch other dudes jerk off in a chair. That's what that story's about.
Yeah.
Big part of that story.
Sounds like a good story, eh? Just saying.
Yeah, but there's some real elements to that story, man. You know, you don't know that if they were doing real research for MK Ultra on Sub Project 68 on electronic waves and interaction with brains or biological systems and stuff, which I don't doubt that they did, because we know about Project Rainbow and all these other projects.
Oh yeah,
they analyze this stuff. You know,
maybe we're just looking at them different. We should look at them differently, like the Twilight Zone. You know, when you watch the Twilight Zone, that's UCR. I'm just saying.
It's like, if we're gonna do all this crazy, you know, secret research and stuff, let's also throw in some other stuff we can use to discredit it. You know,
it's entertainment, right?
Jimmy Church vets everything in the show 3 times.
Aren't they saying that that's what we do anyways? We're throwing in stuff to just discredit it, and that's our only mission. Not to go ahead and do real research and say, okay, look at it's bullshit. No, we're only there to discredit it, and we're getting paid from somewhere. Look, I've been on the internet literally since it began. You know, I'm not going to age myself, I guess. But the thing is look, I've never, not even once, ever made any money. I've never made a single penny online ever. Ever.
Because now you're going to be a slave for my show, and you're not getting paid. I need 4 more of you to volunteer to be Truth Seeker slaves, so I can compete with other people.
I was made to be a slave.
Who have free working slaves. Yeah.
What did you say there, Jeremy? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, I said I also had AOL on a 3.5-inch floppy. So
in the mail. You get it in the mail.
Jeremy, do you remember not being able to get on because there was too many people in your local access?
Yeah, you had to keep trying.
I
remember you'd get
I would have the auto dialer program. I used to have this bot program called AO Hell, and you could do all kinds of you could do all kinds of spam hacking, phishing, all the kinds of crap on AOL. It was made for amateur hackers and stuff.
You know what? I even have the original NT when it first come out on the floppy, and the manual and stuff still in its case. I mean, I didn't need it because I already had a copy.
You know what I found? You know what I found when I was cleaning my garage, and this was. I had IBM OS3 or IBM OS2.
Oh, that's old.
And it's 45 floppies. And I remember trying to install that and going, please God, let all 45 of these floppies not have a read error, because it would fail in the middle of a 45 floppy install, and you had to start all over again.
It had to happen with 3.1, Windows 3.1. One of the floppies failed. I'm like, so I had to go on my friend's computer and go ahead and download that one disk and then make a copy.
I'm turning into an old man too. Jeremy and 6 Cents. My kid was playing Xbox 360, and that's the latest console I have. I don't play games much, but he's playing Red Dead Redemption 1 because that's all you can play on the. You can't play 2 on the Xbox 360. And he goes, Daddy, these graphics are so shitty. Red Dead Redemption 2 is so much better on PlayStation 5. And I go, wait right here. And I went and got that Atari flashback, and I put the Atari flashback on, and I'm like, play this shit for a while. Tell me about shitty graphics. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Before you end up shutting this thing down, it sounds like you guys are doing that soon. What's the story going forward? Are they doing more of these hearings, or is it just back
50 more
paperwork, or what?
I think it's probably just going to be this nothing burger again, and then they're going to forget about it for a while, and gas will continue to go through the roof. And
because look at that 180-page report, or I think it was 180 pages or 150 pages. It was useless. I mean, that didn't do
useless. Yeah.
Do you think they ever try to grab Elizondo? Do you think they ever try to bring him in?
They won't touch him because he's not doing nothing wrong. He's putting up bullshit.
And because the government people know that he lied and said he
ran a
program that did not.
They will not attack him. He's not doing nothing wrong.
How crazy was that when he kept saying the congressman kept saying ATIP? How cringe was that? It's like, see, please say OSAP already.
Yeah.
I mean, did you guys look into this at all? I mean,
he did say that a couple times.
Yeah. That senator probably read the New York Times article from 2017 this morning before the hearing and thought he knew what he was talking about.
Well, he's the same guy that brought up the Wilson document too, and they put that in the record, which is pretty interesting too.
He got
Eric. He did ask
those were interesting.
Record.
He got Eric Davis's name.
I bet Eric Davis is sweating
Eric
right
Wilson,
now.
right?
Eric Davis is sweating right now. Oh shit! I might have to answer for this bullshit story that I've been peddling.
That's why they said they didn't know anything about it, because they don't know about the Eric Wilson. They know about the Eric Davis, though.
Yeah,
they seem staged to lead into other things. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It seemed like it was choreographed to go in a certain direction
and
with the
release as
questions and
little
the
actual
answers.
information as possible.
So
I just don't
Seem
see
like
how they
these
get
people
past
that are
sources
running
and
this new
methods.
program, they don't seem very knowledgeable about anything. They don't seem like they.
Well, it's bad, man.
They don't. Yeah.
What did you think of Stephen Greenstreet's recent thing, Steve?
I said this on my show previously, and I will say it again. I think that it was well researched. It was incredibly well edited. It was artistic. I think he knocked it out of the park. And I think that the cracks in that Lou Elizondo dam began really there. Like that was very, very damaging to his so-called credibility or any credibility he has left. Now people are going to question, and I'm glad for that because anytime somebody asks me about Lou Elizondo now, I'm just going to send them to Stephen Greenstreet's link. I'm not going to try to explain it to them. He did a great job putting all these pieces together, explaining the counter narrative that wasn't a program, that it was, all the inconsistencies in Lou Elizondo's story. And by the way, if I was Lou Elizondo right now, I'd be sweating because that's the first episode of his new season or run of the Basement Office. And I have a feeling that Stephen Greenstreet is all wound up now and focused on keep pushing that dam, keep punching that dam, this Lou Elizondo dam. I think that was just the opening salvo. I don't know Stephen Greenstreet at all, but I got the sense that he's got a lot more for Lou Elizondo going forward. And
did you see Lou's book is still going to make a ton of money, though? Do you really think Lou cares at this point?
Millions.
He's got so much exposure.
Millions on the book.
I just don't think that the bad press is really what's going to bother him at this point. He's already going to make the money. It's already over. He's a celebrity. It's done.
Yeah, he signed the book deal and stuff. But did you see, Stephen? You need to watch Greenstreet's interview with
I
Greenwald
saw that.
Jr.
Yeah, I did see
where
that.
he talks about
somebody made a point too that book
that
originally people said was going to be out in April. So I have a feeling that it may be printed and sitting in warehouses waiting to go to distributors already. So I kind of feel like if there was anything earth-shattering or groundbreaking or really important in that book, it would have leaked by now. And it has.
He would already have talked about it, about it, right? Hinted at something. All his interviews have honestly been the same thing for 2 years, and he acts like we're all mad that he's leaving. It's like, dude, you don't say anything, and for 2 years, who cares?
Leaving. He's doing a conference in 2023. He's doing with some wackadoos that.
So I liked John Greenwald's interview with Stephen Greenstreet, and I like what they're doing with all this. But it just seems to me that none of those guys are really into the science and really have the science background to understand.
Well, that's your job here, Jeremy.
Yeah. That's true, man.
I know, man. There's one thing that's really missing from this conversation, which if this was an intel op, like a whole counterintelligence operation that was run like from the top down, then this is the point where Lou Elizondo, his cover story has come up and it's now peaked. His popularity is peaked right now. I would argue. Yeah. And I argued this in the video that I did on it, and I said like this is
downhill from here,
pulling the trigger on something else. And the next stage is that whole OSAP thing, with where they're going to say that there was this UFO program, but it was also about poltergeists and ghosts and werewolves and big
dino beavers.
And
dino beavers. Oh, they're deadly, eh? Be careful.
Yes. So
what I also love about Greenstreet is that he does have he edited that whole thing himself. I know that, but he does have some resources working for the New York Post. So, pardon me. I think it was interesting. Imagine he had to go to his bosses at the New York Post and say, I'm going to need you guys to sign off on this funding form because I have to get an animation done of a dino beaver for this piece I'm working on. Like, could you imagine being his boss? Like, wait, you want me to pay for an animation of what? A dino beaver? There's an animation of a dino beaver in his piece.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I'll be curious if he paid for that or where he got it. That's funny, the dino beaver animation.
Yeah. It had to be custom. I don't think you can find a stock video of a dino beaver.
I don't know. I respect the hell out of him.
I don't know.
I respect the
Yeah,
hell out of him for what
I
he
just
said
feel
on the
like
Black
this was the
Vault,
disinfo beaver more than anything. I think that this is the disinfo honeypot part of the trap that was hidden in the whole mess to begin with, so that when it finally blew up and came and got anywhere in the intelligence world, that all this comes out on the table, and then it's just poisoning the well.
We've seen this before. It's
Yeah, he
always,
talked
it's
about
always
that
like
being
it's always
groomed.
like Bob Lazar. He rode that fame for a long time, and then slowly people started picking apart the story, and then it all falls apart. This is exactly what we've seen before in so many different places, from from Stephen Greer to Corey Good to this. This is just the latest iteration.
Absolutely. And
It all
meanwhile,
falls apart.
21 trillion are missing from the Pentagon budget, and we don't know where it went.
That's insane.
I couldn't buy that much hookers and coke.
That's insane, man.
I don't know. Come to Canada, I'll spend it.
We can always try.
Yeah,
right?
Hunter Biden.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd have I'd have at least a little bit of UFO technology in with that, some of that money. You know, come on.
But would you buy Twitter? Would you buy Twitter though?
Some
That's
black
the
op
question.
program. You know,
How
do you lose $2 trillion and unaccounted for? That I bang my head on that one too. How do you lose that much? It's not 2 million. Okay, all right, that's a lot too. But 2 billion, that's a lot. 2 trillion, I don't know how you
gotta make Dino Beaver T-shirts now and sell them.
I mean, damn, think what you could do in a third world country.
Just have the Dino Beaver and have it say Truth Seekers.
Yeah, we're gonna seek the Dino Beaver. Well, listen, I want to thank each of my panel members. I got all this. I'm trying to get the new streaming studio up. I'm out on my patio. It's kind of chill. I went from in a dusty attic room that's so hot you'll die in there for 2 hours to out on my patio freezing. So I'm gonna wrap things up here and try to get my new setup going tonight. I've said it's going to be done for 2 weeks now. It turned out it's a lot harder. Jeremy, I was cleaning out boxes and boxes of old parts. So you know something about that kind of thing. Like I have like 20 years worth of boxes of parts, and I can't just throw the whole box away because I might need some of that shit someday. But I'm proud of myself. I threw out like 5 boxes full of wires and cables, and like I'll buy new ones. I don't care. I need to make space, you know? So,
yeah. You get the 10 pin old printer cables. It's like not gonna
yeah, serial cables. I found a box of serial cables. Like, when am I ever going to need to hook up a modem again? I don't even think modern PCs have serial.
Just think, ribbons will be obsolete soon, right? Because now they have SATA hard drives. Everything's connected to the board. What do you need a ribbon for? Yeah.
Just a reminder that
right?
anyone who has any cassettes recorded on tape or VHS or any kind of magnetic tape, like old videos, make sure you digitize and back those up because they have a shelf life of about 30 years, and all of it's going to be bad. And you're going to be able to recover your family, your family recorded home videos. So get that stuff backed up, and it's important. But yeah.
Well, they said CD-ROMs were forever, and then you find out they aren't. Well, the thing is they would have been forever if they kept the backing there, that little foil backing. If they put that extra layer on that side, yeah, sure, it made it a little.
2 cents of tape to screw everybody out of their memories. So
those will last for a long time. Not those ones without no backing.
Thanks for the conversation, guys. And real quick, Jeremy, the Sarfati interview was awesome, man.
That was that was a great one.
That was really good.
Dude, I was surprised he showed up because I really just sent the email to him like 5 minutes before that. But he had just sent out another email with like related to it because he was just watching it and he was like, ranting. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna give this guy a platform to just go.
I was glad to hear him cussing and stuff. It's always funny to see them down to earth like that. He seemed like a really cool guy.
Yeah.
So make sure that you check out Alien Scientist. Just put Alien Scientist in the YouTube search bar. You'll find his excellent channel, which is focused mostly on the science behind UFOs and UAP, anti-gravity, free energy, all of these things Jeremy is digging like crazy into. I love it. It hurts my head sometimes, though, when he starts talking about protons and
some of the people that we get on.
Yeah, it's a great channel, though. I love science, so I'm a big supporter. Go check him out. Anybody else have anything to plug before I throw you all out of here?
No, I'm going. Thanks for the conversation. Hey, Jeremy, I was going to tell you, just read an article that talking about the Chinese just made a breakthrough in quantum messaging from satellites to the U.S. Something you might want to check out.
Yeah, they have those encrypted
pretty wild
entanglement satellites with the quantum encryption, and the Chinese have been working on that for a while, man.
Yes, Chinese.
Yeah, freaking crazy.
No,
good. Hey, thanks for the conversation.
All right,
Steve,
I'm going to throw you live here. Good night, Lord Ludicrous Platt. Thank you very much.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you, Ice Cream Shots, the new member, Corundrum, who is making these excellent UFOs Got Talent bumpers for us. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. Good night. And 6 Cents, lead chat room monitor. Good night. And Jeremy, we'll have to try. What was that we were going to talk about? And
we were going to have you on, and we got to get a show about Lou and talk about all the stuff that's going on.
All right, yeah. Well, let's do it. As soon as I get this streaming set up, I'm a little busy. I'm still working on this cabin and some other. I'm so busy right now, the busiest I've ever been. And then my kids keep having days off, which, that just try getting anything done with a 5 and a 10-year-old running around like maniacs, right? And I can't leave them alone because they're 2 boys. If I leave them alone for 5 minutes, bad shit happens. No.
5
you got boys.
Like a minute and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, keep up the good fight. Good to see you here tonight. It was a great surprise to have you. And we'll talk soon.
Yeah, this is a great day, man. This was epic.
Great day of nothing burger.
I know. Right. It's only getting better, Steve. Just strap yourself in. Enjoy the ride.
All right. Yes, I hear that there is a great deal of things going on behind the scenes related to TTSA that may involve some legal maneuvers or other things. And when I have more information on that, we're going to be doing a show on it. I've got 2 excellent sources, researchers, who are telling me that there's some things going on with that. And with the entire TTSA debacle, things may be imploding for more than just Lou Elizondo. I mean, Lou Elizondo was involved with TTSA, and a lot of people are going to start asking a lot more questions lately. And I think that's a good thing. And, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Lou Elizondo, instead of doing all these slimy things like calling people felons or cons or whatever, maybe, just maybe, you should grow a set of balls, be a man, and just answer people's questions. The only people, I've said it before, and I will continue saying it, the only people who fear questions are people with something to hide. So, what do you have to hide, Lou Elizondo? What's so important that you would actively damage people's reputations, call people felons, call people mentally unstable, be passing around these hit lists, directing people? There's another thing. He and his crew, I suppose, have actively told people, you need to stay away from this person. You need to stay away from this show. You need to stay away from that show. All the shows that are asking him the hard questions. What is he afraid of? The only people, my friends, who fear questions are people with something to hide. And I think in the coming short time, maybe 6 months to a year, we're going to find out more about what Lou Elizondo has been hiding from all of us. So let it be, friends. That's all I got for you. I want to thank our panel members. I want to thank our kind and generous benefactors, donators, Patreon supporters, everybody. And if you're listening in audio podcast land, go on over to YouTube and put Truth Seekers, one word, in the search bar. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where we do the live tapings. Don't just watch the show. Don't just listen to the show. Come here and be a part of it. You are most welcome. Until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.